Hey, it's Meg. Welcome back to my channel. So for today's junk journal with me, I'm going to be making a DIY stencil as part of what I'm creating today. So I'm following along with Get Messy's Messy May this month, and this prompt is less for day 19. I'll leave all the information down below because I am following along with kind of like a video tutorial that one of the artists has shared, so I'll leave all that information down below for you. But for this, I decided I was going to do kind of like a DIY stencil. I've done a few of these in the past, but I was having my coffee in the morning and I was kind of getting some of the pods out of the packaging, and as I was waiting for sort of the coffee machine to, you know, do its thing, I was folding up the packaging ready to kind of recycle it, and when I looked at it I thought, I wonder if I can do anything with that in my junk journal. So I decided to save it and see what I might want to do with it. And so for this page, when the prompt said to kind of create a block color background, I thought, this is going to be perfect. Let's see what I can do with this packaging. So I'll show you in a moment after I've finished just prepping this background just with some neutral collage papers. That was part of the prompt. This is something I like to do a lot in my journals anyway because I think it adds a lot of nice background texture. But this is the packaging in question, so you can see kind of why I was looking at it and thinking, maybe I can do something with this. So assembling this stencil was super easy. All I did was added washi tape to either side of the stencils, just along where they joined. Now of course you can use something stronger, maybe like sellotape, but honestly for just a stencil, and you know it's only out of packaging, so it's not going to be as robust perhaps as like a store-bought stencil, so I'm not too precious about it, so that's why I just decided to use washi tape. But of course you can reinforce it, but it was pretty flimsy material anyway. But I just thought that adding like 3 together would make like a really interesting pattern that I could use, like a bit of a repeating pattern. And so what I did on the page to make it kind of not look like it's I don't know, too kind of floating in the middle of the page, is I just put it off to one side, just to kind of give that like more organic effect to the page. So all I'm using is just some acrylic paint. This is in Naples yellow, and a makeup sponge, or just kind of a craft sponge. That's just what I had to hand. I just thought it might work a bit better than a brush. I don't normally kind of use paint in this way, to be honest. I know it's a pretty common thing, but I am trying to use more kind of mixed media stuff in my art journals and my junk journals. I think I've mentioned that to you guys before. So this is kind of part of my branching out a little bit, because I just want to find ways to, I don't know, give different effects to my collaging, and kind of make them a little bit more interesting. So this was really fun. I've just sped it up because it took quite a while, and as you can see I got paint everywhere, all over my hands, but it was really fun to do, and the finished result looked pretty cool as well. So what I also did off camera was I just took some like spare papers and just sort of squished the stencil between it, just to use the excess paint, just to create some kind of painty papers that I can use perhaps in some collaging or some backgrounds at a later date, just because I didn't want to waste any of the paint, and you know, you get that nice reverse stencil, which is really cool. So this part here of the packaging was just kind of, do you know, where you would like lift up, they've just cut out a little semicircle. And so it's just making a basic circle, which if you've got a piece of card, some scissors, fold it in half, cut a semicircle, it's the same thing. But what I thought would be interesting about this is that when I put the stencil on my journal page, I can't see where I'm stenciling really, or what I'm doing, so you're kind of getting a bit of a surprise in terms of what the outcome is, which I thought was really cool. So I just came in with some of my pink paper artsy like acrylic craft paint, and just did some pink dots just in random places, just to kind of break up the rigid pattern of the yellow, and also to add some extra colour, which kind of was straying from the prompt I was following, because that was all about kind of using less and using one focal colour, but I just decided to add another colour. So given that I don't usually use loads of colours anyway, I thought that wasn't too bad. However, what is now following is my attempts to dull down the colour a bit, because I was finding it just a little bit overwhelming, which is hilarious because there's barely any colour on this page. But for me, it was kind of a bit too bright and contrasting. So that's why I came in with the additional layers of sewing paper to try and sort of push it backwards a bit, not so that you couldn't see it at all, but just to soften those harsh edges, because obviously with a stencil you do get that kind of crisp, clean line, which can be cool, but with this journal page I just didn't really feel that it was working too much. So after adding this little collage in the middle, I then decided, do I want a focal point for this? I had different floral stickers and tried a few of them just to see what would go, and I was thinking again, this is kind of clashing a bit too much. So if I wanted a focal image, I felt like I needed to kind of dull down the background a bit. Again, not so that you couldn't see the colour, but just, you know, push it back a bit, dial it down, turn the volume down on the colour. So I came in with some watered down basic white acrylic paint and just decided to brush this over the top. So there was a fair amount of water in this, so it was pretty watery and kind of translucent looking. I've used this on a few different pages in my journal recently, with my collage, and also with like adding the collage, adding this layer of like watered down paint, and then adding like coffee and letting it kind of, I don't know, seep into the little nooks and crevices. I'll have to do a video on it. It looks so cool as a journal background. But anyway, I digress. Let me know if you want to see that video. So then I decided, yes, this is finally dulled down enough that I can then add my focal image. And then I decided to add some stitching to this journal page, just as a final like little detail, bit of a textural element. This thread was such a beautiful like olive shade, which kind of tied in with the leaves on the flower, but also I felt like it just added a nice contrast and just sort of a defining element by using it alongside the edges of my collaged papers. Just kind of helped them to be a bit more cohesive in how they're on the page. And I just tied it on the back. I'll probably stick some paper over that. Then finally I came in with a word sticker. These were made by my good friend Daisy over at My Green Cow. I'll leave a link down below if you want to check out her stickers. I've been loving using these little words and phrases on my journal pages. I think they add just such a lovely finishing touch. So that is everything from me. I hope you enjoyed journaling along with me again today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys!